Welcome to the big program. It's Mike and Molson
Yeah.
live on YouTube and in your podcast ears and wherever else we can be. Good to be back. I guess the last time we were on was New Year's Eve, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we welcomed in 2025 in worldwide style. We made friends in Kyrgyzstan and not so much in Russia. We learned a lot about Nepal and their ringback tones. But yeah, inaugural 2025 show here, and it seems as if a background has changed for you a little bit, sir.
You like this? Like my dojo?
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. It's very much like you're a dojo. I didn't realize that. You're like Ken from the Barbie movie. You're Mojo Dojo.
That's right. No, I have changed locations. I'm now in beautiful Chicago, Illinois.
Oh, very nice.
So just in the last 6 months, you've moved, I've moved, and now we're set up.
Yes.
But, we are back on, ready to take your calls at 707-4-MONKEY.
Yep, New Year, same phone number. Hard to believe. We actually have a list coming up here on the program. It's hard to believe that we're a quarter of a century into the 2000s.
I know.
I think it's as two individuals who used to be in the radio industry, I don't know if you can say 80s, 90s, and today anymore, because you're in 2025 now, folks.
Yeah,
it's like the 2000s, 2010s, and today
exactly right.
is what it should be.
That's exactly right.
So yeah.
Well, Chicago, you're right there on beautiful Lake Michigan, and of course, it's cold and frozen, and it's like 7 degrees outside. And so I've learned something, that when the ice is forming on Lake Michigan, it builds up these things called ice shelves, and basically it's just frozen water that gets pushed up onto the. You say, yeah, I don't know, I didn't know this.
I knew that. Do you not follow Tom Skilling on social media?
I guess not.
Tom Skilling has told us all about that. So anyway, continue though. The ice shelves. It's weird to see though. I will say that the first time I saw the picture, I was like, that's odd.
Yeah, and they are very dangerous to climb on.
Well, that makes sense.
It does make sense. It does make sense because, as you can see, the ice is just kind of building up, and it has these little crevasses and cavities and things like that. And I look out the window, and this is the view off my porch. It's like my graphics.
Yes, death zone, safe but cold. Okay, right. I didn't know that there was those two different delineations.
And so there on the left side, you can see there's like 4 people or so, and they're climbing up on the damn ice shelf. The first day here, I looked out the window, and there was a couple standing right on the peak of one, and they're taking a selfie and doing this thing. It's like, I'm gonna see somebody die.
Did you open the window and be like, get away from there, you're in the death zone. Look at my graphic on the internet. It's the death zone. You're going to die.
Yeah, I know. Apparently not. That's the thing that just slays me. I think I would just being that close to cold water and on top of ice would be enough to make me go, I should probably stay away from that thing. But the people just don't seem to mind. And
anything for the gram, I guess.
I suppose
gotta get it
so.
on Insta.
But boy, it just the attraction of climbing up there to just to see what you can see is overwhelming. And so I'm constantly looking out the window and seeing people. And the thing is, if you drop down in there, as you can see on the graphic, you see that man waving at you from inside the ice shelf.
He's dead. You're toast.
Or the shelf ice, I guess is what it's called, is what this is. Yeah, I mean, you can wave all you want, but I'm not going to be able to see you.
No. Well, did you feel, let me ask you this. When you were looking out there, 1, the possibility of seeing someone die in front of you, and 2, did you then feel the obligation of, if I do see them fall, I have to be the one that calls 911 and then try to explain where they are on the, in relation to Lake Michigan and the beach? Did you feel any sense of, now it's my responsibility, I have to be the eye in the sky, I am almost like a superhero now with a responsibility for the greater good?
Geez, I mean, I guess I would have to. I just don't, the thing is, if it happens, I won't see it. I'll look out the window, there'll be somebody climbing around, and I'll walk by 5 minutes later, and then there won't be anybody, and I won't know that it's happened.
Very true, unless you see panicked other people. And by that point, if there's other people panicking, you would assume they would already have called.
Right.
So you don't really need to.
You know,
Like,
in
now
general,
you're just jamming up. Yeah, you're just jamming up the 911 number. If you call, it's not your problem anymore.
That's right.
They should have watched Mike and Molson on YouTube and seen the death zone graphic.
Yeah,
That's on them.
In general, it's none of my business, and so I don't like to get involved if at all possible. Another instance that's been happening here in Chicago is we're having some coyote problems. There were a pair of incidents here in town.
When I first heard about this years ago, living in the suburbs of Chicago, I was like, but there's coyotes in the city? Like, I mean, where are they coming from, like migrating? And then I saw this video. You have the great screen cap there, but if you have not watched the video, do yourself a favor. I was expecting not this. When I saw that video, when I saw the police officers there in that Aldi looking for something, I assumed a raccoon. Yeah. When I saw the tail, I assumed a raccoon, and the next thing you know, this happened.
That's what some of the people at the store were saying, is they just figured that there was a raccoon got in there and they were dragging it out.
Look at this. Good Lord. And it jumps right back in.
Yeah. And I'm not sure. I mean, it's like, did he have it by the tail? Was that? I guess he did.
Yes. They grabbed it by the tail. And when I saw the tail right there is when I thought raccoon. I was like, okay, long tail, gonna be a raccoon. And then they just keep pulling, and I'm like, holy shit, that's a coyote. First of all, I didn't realize that the produce shelving unit went far enough back where a coyote could hide itself in the lettuce. Well, I was unaware of just how deep that is.
That's a really good question. Is what was it going after? Was it in the yogurt? Was it the cheese? Was it there had to be something that was attractive to the coyote. Was it the lunch meat? No injuries were reported to the coyote. Animal control officers said it was obviously a big surprise to shoppers. They removed the coyote safely inside the Aldi, and a witness said she saw the animal roaming the parking lot minutes earlier, case in the joint.
I'm going to make that big score. Going to get me some nice kale.
It had been hiding in the cooler beneath a selection of fine cheeses.
Oh, okay. So it was dairy. Yeah. It was a fancy. Can you say that? I mean, no offense, I'm not throwing shade at Aldi, but fine cheeses at your Aldi? I'm just asking the questions here. Fine cheeses at the old Aldi. But yeah.
The coyote was transferred to the wildlife rehabilitation area. He's doing fine. They just say, hey, it picks an odd location. That happens sometimes. Meanwhile, and let me get to the next story here.
By the way,
go ahead.
Did you have to return the coyote at the end of your shopping excursion to get your quarter back?
Get your quarter back.
Like you have to do with your carts at the Aldi?
That's right. You got to bag your own coyote.
Yeah, please. Sir, there's no price on this coyote. We need a price check.
Meanwhile, over at O'Hare, a plane has hit a coyote. I
don't think that ended well for that coyote.
Yeah, I don't think it did either. They're saying that it was taking off, plane was going to Phoenix, and they said they had to examine the aircraft after the landing gear struck a coyote during takeoff. 167 passengers and 6 crew members scheduled to fly to Phoenix. The pilot declared an emergency, and he said, during the rotation, we hit a pretty big animal, and we're suspecting cause of damage to the nose and landing gear, and we're going to be returning back to O'Hare. So please fasten your seatbelts.
Can you imagine just for a second being on that flight and hearing what you just said? Yeah. All you're trying to do is get away from the cold, and all of a sudden you have to turn back around because Yeah.
Sorry about that. Wiley was not wily enough to get out of the freaking way of our airplane, so we are going to have to head on back. Sorry about that, and apologize to the coyote.
That brings up an interesting question. If you are the pilot, do you confess to what just happened, or do you just say, "Hey, we've got some issues here. We need to land"? I don't know if I'd want to know. Hit a coyote.
I don't know if he would know it's a coyote. I mean,
That's true.
was it just after the autopsy? I mean, because I imagine when you're rolling, if you're getting to takeoff speed, if you're rolling, you would think even at taxiing speed, the coyote could get out of the way. It had to have been when they hit, to get up into the air.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you hit at that point. You just know, the wheel's rumbling weird. Time to go back. And then you turn back around like, oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's a bad day.
Yeah. What's all these coyotes in Chicago, by the
Well,
way? Did you bring them with you from Springfield, or what the hell?
They are saying that, I guess, between January and March is coyote mating season. And this is when the coyotes get all horny and they go buy cheese and exotic trips to Phoenix.
That's exactly what it was. Now I feel bad. Do you think, just throwing it out there, do you think the Aldi coyote was grabbing the cheese for his love who was at the airport? Like, damn it, we forgot the cheese. We got to go visit our family in Arizona for the holidays. Forgot the cheese.
I think it's sadder than that, Mike. I think what happened was the coyote was in a long-distance relationship, and the female coyote just got off the plane and was headed toward baggage and just gets clocked in the head by a 787.
And the poor bastard coyote.
And the other coyote's like,
cheese.
I bought all this cheese for nothing. Thought I was going to get some tonight.
She loved it. It's no Gouda anymore. Oh, my luck. Son of a bitch.
Good Lord.
Yeah, I think that's probably what transpired. On the topic of cheeses, though, that is something that belongs on pizza. Something that we've long said that does not, in our humble opinion, is pineapple.
As much as a lot of people feel that way.
It's very divisive. There's some that swear by it. But finally, here's a pizzeria that's doing something about it. This pizza over in England has decided that for $125, you can put pineapple on your pizza, but only for $125. So you would really like it to be able to put it on the pizza. So they're saying, go ahead, you psychopath, pay $125 for the pineapple on your pizza, but we're going to make you pay because it does not belong on there.
They'll comply, but they're going to make it really uncomfortable for you. They're not refusing to do it. They're not refusing to do it.
Correct.
They will take your order.
They're going to do it. It's Lupa Pizza over in Norwich in England. And they said the cheeky menu description reads, for $125 you can have it. Order the champagne too, you monster.
Yeah.
So not only that, they are just shaming you.
Yeah.
When asked why they decided to charge such a large fee, the owner answer is simple: pineapple doesn't belong on pizza. In fact, the head chef there said, I love a pina colada, but pineapple on pizza, never. I'd rather put a bloody strawberry on one than that tropical menace of pineapple.
Wow, that's pretty harsh.
I love their stance.
It just doesn't taste good.
No, it does.
It's just
no one
a wrong
combination. Pineapple.
Well, and you know what the thing is? It's because there's tomato sauce. That's the thing that's crazy about it. It's like pineapple and tomato sauce. Yeah, it's like having ice cream and putting steak sauce on it or something. It just doesn't make any sense.
No, it does not. And they say that basically, though reviled by many, though, the Hawaiian pizza does have its fans. A 2017 poll revealed 53% of people over in England enjoy the sweet and savory combination, but it's not a fruit salad. I'm 100% behind these individuals because you're right. They found a loophole.
Yeah.
They're not saying no to it, but they're also saying fine, but you're going to have to pay a hefty, steep price for ruining a good slice of pizza.
And that's the other thing too is I enjoy the sweet and savory combination on things as well, but not this one. This one just does not sit with me.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like sweet and savory, like I'm down with that for the most part. Like the chicken and waffles, love me some chicken and waffles.
There you go. Yeah, that's a great example.
They go great together.
Mm-hmm.
They go great together. But it's like, what makes pineapple so special that it can go on a pizza without anyone questioning it? Like,
Yeah.
would you? I mean, I've seen apple on pizza, but it's usually like when it's brie, right? When it's really a fancy pizza, like one of the stone-fired ones, they'll put like apple and some brie on there. And even then, but you're right, the tomato sauce is what throws it off.
I think so.
Those particular pizzas don't have that kind of the tomato sauce. That's the problem.
That's right.
That's the issue.
I think you're exactly right there. I think the closest I've gotten is a fig.
Oh, okay.
That's
fig on the pizza?
That's as fruity as I'll go. Is a fig. I won't
I'm
go any
only a
fruitier
fig
than
guy.
that.
Don't be putting grapes on there. No strawberries. You and your damn apples. Only a fig. I understand that. I understand that.
That's about it. But to your point, it is. Yeah, it's like goat cheese. There's some combo. It's a flatbread.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't even know if you can call it a pizza. It's because it just doesn't. It's just a flatbread with an interesting combination of things. When you order, it's like pineapples and hams and olives. I mean, these are all just weird things to put together.
By the way, let me ask you this as an aside from this conversation. When did pineapple become synonymous with ham? Like it's ham and pineapple on the pizza, but you always seen pictures even back from the day of like the roast ham or the baked ham comes to the table, and it's always got the damn pineapple on top of it.
Got a pineapple and 3 little maraschino cherries.
Yes, yeah. When the hell did that start, and why did it come together that way?
I mean, I think that might be part of the glaze that goes onto a ham.
Okay.
We're going to start a weekly YouTube cooking show, by the way. That'll be on our second channel, and we'll discuss these kinds of things.
It'll be called FU Pineapple, and none of our recipes will have pineapple in it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just it's an odd. Not only is it an odd combination, it's odd that the people who are passionate about it are passionate about it. I don't get that.
Very much so. Like, I'm sure we'll get comments on this video. And please comment whether you're watching live or watching it in post or even listening to it in the audio-only version. We're going to have people that say that we are the worst, that we are terrible humans because we are against pineapple on pizza.
All right.
And you're right. They're so passionate about it.
Yeah, go watch Mr. Beast then, if that's what you want. If that's the kind of foolishness you want, go watch that. You're on the wrong channel.
You're on the wrong channel. If you want, you know what? We don't want you to. I would say hit that subscribe button, but if you've ever had pineapple on your pizza, get the hell out of here.
Unsubscribe.
Yeah, please. We don't want your kind. Kudos. We're gonna. You know what? We're gonna open up. We're gonna talk to those wrestlers from across the pond, and I want to get this restaurant on as well.
Yeah,
for charging $125. I think there should be a tax for your terrible taste in pizza toppings. Idiots.
Well, here's your boy to you. Do I feel old list?
God, it does. The fact that this is from Yardbarker, and this is a really, I thought a pretty good list. Notice it says essential, not best. It's just thrown out there. And these are 30 movies turning 30 years old in 2025. It's hard to believe that 1995 was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I know.
Like, if we were to remake a movie you never watched, Johnny, Back to the Future, Marty McFly would be going back to 1995 because in the Back to the Future he goes 85 to 55. And I don't know if culturally it'd be as jarring, but I'm sure it still would be for someone of his ilk to go back to 1995 and be like, what the hell is this slow technology? And I don't really have a smartphone. And what the hell is this payphone thing? And how the hell is this guy a president? He was a jamoke that in New York, and now he's a president 2025. Right.
You know, that's a really interesting point was it, I don't know if it's just because we're too close to it or because we lived through it or something, but, growing up, like Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley or something, I mean, that just seemed like a completely different time. And
Yes.
I did stuff change so dramatically in the 60s that it was just a shock to the system? Because I don't know. I mean, yes, obviously technology has changed in the last 30 years between now and 1995. I'm just trying to think if society has changed all that much. You watch Seinfeld and you go, okay, yeah, he's got a cordless phone, but it doesn't. I don't get
Answering
that.
machines, but
I don't get that
yeah,
feeling that it's a completely different era of time. It still works for some reason, and I don't know, man. That's weird. That's
yeah,
weird to me. So
it is.
anyway,
No, I get you. I'm right there with, because you're going through this list, right, of these movies that are turning 30 in 2025. These essential ones according to Yardbarker. It's like some of these still would not be. They still some of them hold up, some of them don't, but they wouldn't be that out of place.
okay.
So Batman Forever turns 30. So that was the one with Jim Carrey as the Riddler and Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face. So that was at like the zenith of the Jim Carrey powers.
Mm-hmm.
Also turning 30 this year, Clueless. And that's
Wow.
one that I don't know if that one holds up. I haven't gone back and watched Clueless in a long time, but when I read that aloud, it's one of those ones that I don't feel old until I realize that's 30 years removed.
Right.
Because Alicia Silverstone was like, I was like, I could have dated Alicia Silverstone. And now to think like 30 years removed from the movie Clueless, which has its issues, by the way.
Let's be clear
And the
about
fact-
something. Let's just hang on for just a second. Let's be clear. You would have been an appropriate age to have dated Elite. You could not have dated Alicia Silverstone.
Truth. Right.
Let's say that the right way. Completely
Okay.
different.
I was
Those
of
are
the
two completely
appropriate
different.
age.
Yeah, age appropriate.
Correct.
Yes, as somebody Alicia Silverstone's age, you could have dated, but you could not have dated Alicia Silverstone.
Dated her. Correct. You are correct. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah,
you are,
that's fine.
You are entirely correct. But there's problematic parts of that movie of the fact that she eventually dates her stepbrother, and
Right.
we're all okay. Like that's what we're rooting for at the end. Like, oh, isn't that cute?
Yeah.
And it's like, not so much. Also turning 30 this year, Friday, a classic. The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie turns 30.
I forgot how just how ubiquitous the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers were. I mean, they had a moment in time when every kid was all about Power Rangers, and then they vanished as quickly as they came on the scene.
Yeah, then they were gone. I actually made the mistake, and it's on this list. Apollo 13 came out the same weekend as the Power Rangers movie. And I was like, my family was going to see Apollo 13, and I was like, this seems, I don't know about this. I'm going to go sneak into the Power Rangers movie.
Mm-hmm.
I was in that movie for 10 minutes, Johnny, and I go, this is crap. Like, and I even watched the TV show from time to time, and I was like, nope, not even the Pink Ranger can save this from being awful. I'm going to Apollo 13, and I'm glad I did, because that ended up being a very good movie.
Yeah.
Also turning 30 this year, Braveheart. And the thing about that is people still quote that freaking movie.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
can take our lives, but they can't take our freedom. It's still being quoted 30 years freaking later. The staying power of that particular movie is impressive to me.
No doubt.
It Takes Two, the Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie, turns 30. When they branched out on their own. Talk about two individuals who are stuck in a moment in time of a certain age in your mind, and you can't wrap your head around it.
How old are they now?
They're got to be close to 40.
I guess so.
I mean, if this is turning 30 in 95, and it looks like from the photo they were 6 or 7, they got to be 36, 37 years old.
38. They're 38.
30. Think about that for just a moment. The Olsen twins are now 38 freaking years old.
Because you're
That's
right, they're
crazy.
locked in my head as
as
little kids. Yeah, right. Adorable little kids.
They're always going to be little kids. Also, a movie turning 30 this year, Billy Madison. Another movie that still gets quoted to this day.
Yep.
It's Way Too Hot Out for a Penguin or Nudie Magazine. Like, people still, good to see you, Carl. Like, there's still quotes from that movie. Now and Then turns 30. Like I mentioned, Apollo 13. Some of the other ones on here. A Goofy movie turns 30 this year. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, also turns 30. Casper is on this list. Here's one. The Usual Suspects.
Oh, sure.
Turns 30 years old. And has that movie lost its... It was kind of the forerunner of the, look at the big twist ending. But because of all we know about Kevin Spacey now and everything that surrounded him, is that a movie that's 30 years on is not as impactful as it probably should be? Because still a damn good movie. And that ending still is like the forerunner of The Sixth Sense and everything else. It was kind of done first in Fight Club by Usual Suspects.
Yeah, right. And there was kind of came out in that era of really dark, gritty Quentin Tarantino type movies. I mean, it all kind of had that feel to it that you don't see a lot right now in movies.
No, you don't. And it's one of those things that when you watch back, when the reveal happened in that movie, spoiler alert, by the way, 30 years on, the reveal and when they and the way they took you through the processing of the detective questioning Kevin Spacey in that, and you're like, how the F did I not realize this? Like all the clues were there in front of me, and son of a bitch, he pulled it off. Also turning 30, the Babysitter's Club movie, the movie Casino turns 30, and De Niro's still making movies, and he's looked old then.
You know, I was having that thought while you were talking about Apollo 13 or Usual Suspects of something has changed. I mean, somebody like Tom Hanks, who's mid-60s, I think, 60-something, you know, I don't know, mid-60s seemed a lot older when we were younger. Didn't it?
I would not disagree with you. I would not disagree with you at all.
And not that,
and it's interesting.
Not that it's not young, and it's not that that we're all we're closer to 65 than we are to our teen years, but they just seemed older. They seemed like they were running out of time, and Tom Hanks doesn't seem like he's running out of time.
I think the portrayal.
De Niro doesn't seem.
I think it's part of it is the portrayal of the age of those characters now skews more active. I think, you know, when we were younger growing up, the portrayal of those in the movies and everything else was old and like just kind of, and they were on the cusp of just, you know, death at 65 or whatever it was. You know, you had the Wilford Brimleys of the world, no offense, you know, Cocoon. Like those people were in there like, what, 63, 64 when they made Cocoon? It's like, oh God, we need the fountain of youth. And now it's like Tom Hanks is out there and you know, Liam Neeson is kicking people's ass at his age. It's like, I think the portrayal is different.
Yeah, I think that's it. I guess you know you've seen those memes go around where like Archie and Edith Bunker were in their 40s in All in the Family, and Fred Sanford was 45 or something, even though he was playing a guy in his 60s. You know, and so there was just that perception of you get a little north of 30 and you just you're just an old codger.
Yeah, you start to nosedive. Some more on this list of, and we can post this on our socials, this list from Yardbarker of 30 essential movies turning 30 this year. Tommy Boy, Chris Farley. I mean, think about that. The fact that he's been gone for as long as now that he's been gone is kind of hard to wrap your head.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, Jumanji also turns 30. And, you know, it's still a successful franchise. They rebooted it with The Rock and everybody else. Kevin Hart, still a successful franchise. Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything. Julie Newmar is 30 years old.
God, I forgot about that movie.
Toy Story. The original Toy Story is 30 years old this year.
Yeah.
And they're still making Toy Story movies.
And Tom Hanks is still the voice. Yeah.
And Tim Allen is still the voice. Yeah. Right? I mean... It's Dangerous Minds is 30. With the Gangster's Paradise song, Michelle Pfeiffer. Looking at some of the other ones. Empire Records. Empire Records was one of those teen coming of age movies of like that Gen X, like right there with Reality Bites, of like everyone you knew, like, oh, those were the cool people. They worked at the record store, and you strive to be one of the people. Like when you watch that movie, you're like, oh, who are you? Oh, I'm the stoner guy, or oh, I pined for the one lady, or I was the starving artist. And now it's like, you look at that, what's a record store? Why are they caring? Why are they working so hard? Like, it's so out of touch anymore.
Yeah, it cracks me up that in those days we were all called the slacker generation. And here we are 30 years on, and now our generation are the ones running businesses and hiring people and making all the money. But it just shows you how things, they change, but they also stay the same.
Right. And it makes me feel old because that soundtrack was a banger, and it's 30 years old. Also 30 years old this year. Bad Boys, and they're still making Bad Boys movies.
That's right.
And so to your point, right, about the age, Martin Lawrence and Will Smith are still in those movies, right? 30 years later. So they're 55 to 60, and they're still doing the action movies now.
Nobody bats an eye. Nobody bats an eye.
No. Babe, the talking pig, turns 30 this year. And lastly on this list is the Mortal Kombat movie, turns 30 this year.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember going to that movie and thinking, oh my God, this is great. This is just like the video game, Mortal Kombat.
You made a good point. Those are essential movies. I mean, again, that's a really good list of stuff to go see.
Yeah. Like I said, it didn't say best. It just said essential.
Essential, yeah. Let's go to Bucharest. And this, just the headline alone is giving us lots of questions. Where police were alerted that a man stole 3 amputated legs from the storage area. Let's just stop right there and query the storage area for amputated legs.
What was it? Why do you store them? I mean, to graft skin for someone else? Like, do you just keep them on ice just in case of the hospital? Like, maybe the next person will fit.
The only thing I can think of is there are certain religions where you should be buried with all of your parts. I think that's the only thing I can think of. It took place on January 10th and was captured by surveillance cameras. I want to see that. Guy.
Yeah, what are you smuggling those out in? You turn it into like a leg nunchuck, and you're like swinging it around. Or how the hell are you trying to get those past security?
Oh my God! I want to see a guy running down a hospital hallway with legs under his arms.
So you're like thinking like there's like some ham hocks or something. Like, I gotta love this.
Yeah. He entered the storage area designed for medical waste and then exited with a yellow bag, in addition to the black bag he was already carrying. He later abandoned one of the legs, realized he had an odd number, I guess, and said, well, what do I do with 3?
I only need 2. Why do I have 3?
They then found a second leg, the whereabouts of the third leg still unknown. Here is a quote from the manager of the hospital. From the video recordings, the following observations were made. On January 10 at 6:57 p.m., male individual is seen heading toward the passage leading to the morgue near the infectious waste ramp.
Oh, God. The worst off-ramp ever. God, the traffic jam and the old infectious waste ramp.
Who works the infectious waste ramp at the hospitals? God bless you. That's awful.
Yes, we salute you. If it's you, please comment below.
The infectious waste ramp was unlocked, and the person entered, stealing several bags before leaving along the same route. According to the manager of the hospital was fined by the authorities for mishandling legs and has started its own investigation alongside the police. So, wow, I guess in Bucharest, you can be fined for mishandling legs.
Makes sense. Also, why would you ever lock the infectious waste ramp? Like, whoever thinks, you know what, someone's going to bust into the infectious waste ramp, we better lock it tonight. Probably never. Never. Right. That's probably now they have to lock it because some ding dong was like, you know what I'm going to do tonight? I'm gonna eye that infectious waste ramp. I've been looking. They never
Yeah.
lock that thing.
That's
And
an
I'm gonna
outstanding
grab me
point.
some.
I'd feel
Like who?
comfortable putting $1,000 cash on the infectious waste ramp, just knowing that nobody is going to go touch the infectious waste ramp.
No, not even the person working the infectious waste ramp wants to go in the infectious waste ramp.
Right.
But you don't have to lock that. Why?
Yeah,
But one jamoke.
he clocked in and went into the employee lounge and had a cigarette, knowing that the
Yeah.
infectious waste ramp is perfectly safe,
No one's gonna touch that.
and,
It's
and no one's going to
infectious
mishandle
waste.
the legs. Right. That's what it's
inherent.
called.
It's infectious waste. Who's stealing that?
Yeah.
Who goes, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna make a lot of money on the dark web with my infectious waste. That's the
Yeah.
other thing. Like, what was he going to do? Let's say he wouldn't
Right.
have dropped one. What do? You now have 3 amputated legs. Do you sell toes on the internet? Do you do foot fetish? Like, it's going to deteriorate. Like, what are you doing with? Is there? I don't. You know what? I probably don't want to know because there's probably something you can do with those. But it just seems like a not well thought out plan.
It's a hell of a bar trick.
Well, how?
I'm gonna bet you the next round of beers that I've got a leg in my trunk, and people go,
Well, there's that.
the hell you do. All right, come with me. Leg in the trunk. You owe me a beer.
Or do you really throw them for a loop, and do you buy a extra size up in pants and put 2 legs on either side and be like, I bet you drinking the rest of the night that I'm a rare individual to have 4 legs that I'm walking on right now, and then just pull up your pant leg and there's 2 extra legs.
There are plenty of comedy reasons why you would steal legs. Plenty.
No real reason, but for comedy, yes. For comedy and free drinks, you would go up the infectious waste ramp just for a joke. That's how dedicated this gentleman was.
I think that's what it is.
No punishment. No punishment. That guy, free drinks. He was willing to go those lengths for humor. I'm down with that.
Speaking of pieces and parts.
Oh yeah, this was sent to us by one of our dedicated listeners. And he sent this headline to me. As you see, it's a guy who isn't actually, this is interesting. This guy reached out to a soccer team over in Europe and said, hey, you're whatever the name of the Falcons or whatever it is, I could be your unofficial mascot. I'm a falconer. What I can do is I can bring the bird, I can train it to fly around the stadium, get the crowd ready to go, and then he'll return to me. Is that something you'd be interested in? And they said, hell yeah. So for like the last season and a half, the guy on the left there on the screen in his pink T-shirt.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, exactly.
Which one's
He's
the
not
guy?
The eagle. He's the guy. He's the guy. The other one's an eagle. Just want to make sure everyone realized that.
All
So, well, short story short, because I don't know if it's long or not. I didn't see the picture. This gentleman had an injury where there had to be prosthetics in his nether region at one point. Like, I don't know if he had plastic, the fake balls or whatever it may be. So they find out, the soccer team finds out that he has shared a picture of his penis on the internet. And they go, hey, you can't just wang out here. We have standards on this pitch. Sorry, you got to go to the side. Did
he share it as the mascot of the soccer team? Did he say, if you want to see something?
No. I'll show you something.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe it's on the official Facebook page or Twitter feed for the soccer team. Like, who's got balls? We do. Check these out. But his defense was, and this is, he's trying here. His defense was, I wasn't showing it to be an exhibitionist. I was showing it for scientific reasons. And I have grown up, my family they were naturalists. So the human form to me.
Come on.
So the human form to me is a thing of beauty and not a thing to be sexualized. So this is not an issue. Why you decided to fire me over my penis pic, that's a hang up you guys have. not me. I was showing people you can live a full penis life with your prosthetics down there. I was doing it as inspirational, as someone who grew up as a naturalist, but you were sexualizing my organ and now
Wow.
causing me and my bird to no longer be able to be in the company of the people we love and support the team that we have been dedicating our last season and a half to.
That is a hell of a reach. Our family was naturalists. That's incredible.
He's like, so do not judge. Do not judge. I was just being open and honest. You bastards. Now
Well,
you've taken my bird away from the fans.
It does beg an interesting question of is it obscene if it's not a real penis? Could you make the argument?
Wow.
I've never seen one of these things. I don't know how anatomically explicit they are.
Now, if he would have framed it of, does this look real to you? Then maybe I go, okay, you're now asking the internet for advice.
Right.
And it's not does this going to work? Like, would this fool someone if I were to and ready to go with this? Then maybe you're onto something. But to then say, I was born of naturalists and the human body in all its forms, with prosthetic or otherwise, needs to be seen, and it's not sexual in any way. It's like, yeah, you don't just take a penis pic to take a penis pic.
Well, I'm glad they have
There's
such high
usually
standards.
Yeah, there's usually other intentions. I don't know anyone who's
think so.
who's just taken a dick pic and been like, well, now I have that, and so it's just going to be there to enjoy its form. No, you do that for a reason.
I'm profoundly curious about prosthetics penises right now. I do not want to search for it though.
No,
I want
no,
I want answers, but I don't want to search because I'm just going to get ads.
That's what I was going to say. They're going to get ads. Although, if any of those fine people with those products would like to sponsor this particular this particular YouTube podcast, we will do our damnedest to get you as many customers as we can. It worked for Nugenics. It can work for you.
We'll handle it honorably.
Yes, that we will handle prosthetic penis. That's ridiculous.
All right. I want to see one. If you got one, send us a picture.
Exactly.
I want to see how that goes. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Off and running to another year. Like, subscribe, share, mock, whatever it is you have to do.
Yes, please do. And we will. We have a lot in the hopper for 2025. We've gone international with the New Year's Eve stuff, so we were looking forward to maybe bringing some guests on and everything else. So please, anything you can do to spread the word, we appreciate it.